traffic routes over its central and southern airspace for
to the Supreme Court has been nothing short of inspiring. I welcome on the show Senior Advocate Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan. Mr. Vaidyanathan, as I welcome you on the show, I want to begin this journey at the very start. You came from a small town in Coimbatore. You were born there. You were in a close-knit family, 7 brothers, a sister. There was not electricity there. You were in government schools. Take us through that time.
I think it was a very peaceful, quiet village, and most of my young life was in places like Dharapuram, Pollachi, Palladam, the Bhavani. These are the kind of places. And though I was born in Coimbatore, but I was traveling all over. And I think family values were the most important. And see, the education in Tamil Nadu, those days the Madras state of Madras, I think was one of the most advanced. And government schools produce some of the people who have risen fairly high in the bureaucratic circles, among scientists. Though we all learnt in Tamil, picked up from that time. I think by and large, the teachers were encouraging and asking us to go to the libraries and read, expand our vision. And that's the kind of life I think we went through. And yes, small houses without electricity, no running water supply, and some of the villages only, you had to take the water from the well. That's how we grew up. But what you mentioned about my brothers and sisters, yes, I'm born in a family of 9 children, 2 of us boys and 7 sisters. So it was a challenge for my father, who was in government service, starting as a revenue inspector, deputy tahsildar and tahsildar, retired as a tahsildar. So yes, not everybody could be educated in the college. So my sisters, 3 of them went to college, the others were not, and that's how we grew up. But I think life has been good, and the challenges we have been able to meet. See, the mother, the women in the household, I think have been able to successfully meet the challenges. That's the most important thing, because my father in government service was preoccupied with government work, hardly any time. And the mother was able to single-handedly look after the family, meeting all the requirements of the family, and bringing them up with good values, culture, base. I think that's very important. And my sisters have been very, very understanding, and even today, practically every day we talk to each other.
How lovely. And that is something that's missing in today's world.
Yeah, I think
where greed and monetary value has taken over the family values that are so important of that time.
Yeah, I make it a point to attend almost all the functions in my sister's children's functions, marriages, all these. It's part of, I think that's how we grew up. I think the family values. That's how we are grown up, and we continue to maintain that.
I also want to ask you, I want to come to your father. He got typhoid, he did law after that, you wanted to be an engineer. But first about your mother. She had only studied till class 3, but you said she was possibly the backbone of the family.
Absolutely.
How did she inspire you?
See, her memory was phenomenal, and her ability to do mental mathematics was superb. I think the way she was able to handle all this, and with my father's limited time for the family and anger, he could get quite angry, but my mother kept calm, manage him and manage the children. Of course, she never interfered. I mean, unlike today, those days, I think the parents left their children to grow up on their own, even in regard to education, not bothering to see whether the homework has been done and what is. Yes, have you done well? What are your marks? That's about it. But other than that, nothing much. But I think, see the brave woman that she is and how she was able to handle, and with the limited income, and most importantly, an open house. There was never ever any restriction in regard to the food that will be offered, because we all used to go back from school, and it's not necessary that I go to my house. I may go to my neighbor's house. My neighbors, they will all come here. And that is how we grew up. It was not as if we had to seek an appointment, telephone, and then come drop in.
Mr. Vaidyanathan, your father, he gave up law. After his practice, he did law. I think that could have possibly been an inspiration for you. Take us through how you went from Coimbatore to Mysore to do your law. You didn't, possibly because of the quota system, you didn't do law in Tamil Nadu itself. What were the early challenges you faced?
See, number one, I passed out of school when I was 13 and a half.
Yes, you were a brilliant student, yes.
And in Tamil Nadu, I couldn't get admission in college because there was an age restriction. I went to Mysore during vacation, was staying with my sister. So I thought I'll go take a chance, went to Sarda Vilas College in Mysore and met the principal, one Ramaswamy Iyer. So I asked him about it. He said, I don't have the powers, you go meet the Vice Chancellor.
Yes.
So I went to the Vishwavidyalaya Karya Sauda, that's university office, and met the registrar. And he said, maybe the Vice Chancellor can do it. So, but he's having a nap, you wait. So I waited. And Sada Panikar was the Vice Chancellor, 1963. And then I met him, and he said, I don't know whether I have the power, but you leave an application and come tomorrow. If I have the power, and I'll consider it. So next day, when I went, the registrar said he has granted the permission, so I joined. And that was the first time I was joining an English medium course, pre-university. Till then I was in Tamil medium.
Right.
But though it is called English medium, in Mysore, even the professors used to teach sometimes in Kannada, so I had to pick up the language. In 8 months, I was able to pick up Kannada. Okay. I can converse today in Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, Hindi, yes, all these languages.
Amazing, amazing.
And then I went to Bangalore, St. Joseph's College. So when I was I went to St. Joseph's College because I couldn't get engineering admission, as you were saying, because of the quota in Tamil Nadu. And I thought I might join engineering after that. But by the time I lost interest in science and engineering. And when I told my father, he said, if you want to switch over to arts, I said, no, I don't want to lose 1 year. I have the advantage of being young.
Yes.
So I said, I'll finish, but I may not get very high marks. So he said, okay. And then, meantime, he had actually, after retirement, started his legal practice. So I thought I can become a lawyer. But when I passed out of law from Madras Law College, I was again less than 20.
Yes. Yes.
So I couldn't enroll. 21 years is the minimum for being a lawyer for enrollment. So then I went back to Bangalore to do my master's in social work. I was doing that when I got a call from DCM to be a senior management trainee, right, and came to Delhi. That was the first time I shifted to Delhi, okay, 70 to 74, okay, there for 3.5 years. But I must tell you, DCM was an excellent training ground.
Okay.
Those days, Hindustan Lever, DCM and Tata Administrative Service were the three premium services. And it gave me a very good grounding in regard to finance, manufacturing, marketing, all these purchase, all the function. Today I find in my legal practice that is extremely helpful. Okay. That experience during those days in DCM. Okay. But I didn't visualize a life as an executive all the time. And I thought, what will I rise up to in a family company or otherwise in a corporate world also? And then I thought, okay, I'll switch over to law. And that's how I went and joined Mr. Venugopal in 1974.
To understand and find out more about his journey, when he started working in the offices of Mr. K.K. Venugopal, we'll ask more. But first, I want to give a sneak peek of Mr. Vaidyanathan's house. We'll go inside. I'll also ask him about the facade. But first, let's go inside and take a sneak peek. We are now in what we in Hindi would call the Angan area of Mr. Vaidyanathan's place. I will ask him the actual word for this in Tamil, but this is a beautiful place where we have seen the Nandi, and therefore this is the right place to ask him about the historic Ram Janmabhoomi case, of which he was a very important part, going through 80,000 pages of documents to really try and understand how he won this case for the deity itself. Mr. Vaidyanathan, I think this is a feather in your and every Indian's cap, I would say, because this was a historic, centuries-old dispute. It went into so many years. You represented Ram Lalla in this case. What sort of an impact did this have on you personally? How did the preparation go? What did you feel in November 2019 when the verdict finally came out?
Oh, I think it was a time for exhilaration. I think it certainly something which I was proud of, and every Indian should be proud of. See, what we tend to forget is today there's a lot of debate about that case. People say that how do you look at these mosques and then say that they should be removed. What they forget is, in a country which has had Sanatana Dharma for centuries, and the temples which have been in existence, and in this case the archaeological evidence showed that the temples existed from 2 centuries before Christ. And over the years it had been developed progressively. Now, question is not whether the demolition actually took place, but the construction was put up over that. And why did anyone choose? You see, number one, we have to make a distinction between Indian Muslims and the invaders who had come from Turkey or from any of the other countries. So I don't think Indian Muslims need to identify or should identify with the invaders who had come and who had perpetrated this atrocity. Why do you pick places of significance for the Hindus, which is a matter of faith and belief for them? Why do you choose the Ram Janmabhoomi or the Krishna Janmabhoomi or Kashi Vishweshwar temple? And in those places of worship, in respect of which the Hindus have immense faith and belief, and for centuries have been going there and performing parikrama and performing puja. Why do you go and set up a mosque? It's of no significance to them. I can understand for the Muslims, Mecca or Medina or a place has some significance. I think it is in the larger interests of amity in the country that the Indian Muslims see the injustice committed by the foreign invaders and remedy it on their own by giving up places like Kashi or in Mathura, where, fortunately in Ayodhya the temple has come up. In the other 2 places also, the temples of grandeur should come up. I think that's a matter of pride for the Hindus, for Sanatana Dharma, and for people all over India, including the Indian Muslims. That's my belief. And you asked about the case. Yes, I was not involved in the conduct of the case in the High Court. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad was involved, Mr. Kane Bhatt was involved, a number of others were involved. When the matter came to Supreme Court, my wife was learning Sanskrit at that time. And the persons who were teaching Sanskrit from Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, they came and interacted with me and wanted me to get into the case. Otherwise, I'm apolitical. I have not been involved in any politics of any political party, nor have I had a connection with RSS or VHP or any of them. So for the first time, I got into the case thanks to people who were with Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan. So I said, yes, certainly, happily, I will appear. And every vacation, I used to appear, but I knew that it's going to take some time. And every summer vacation, I normally go for an Ayurvedic treatment, both my wife and I. So during the time, I said, I will devote entirely to this and start studying the case. And that is how practically we got ready with all this. And the lawyers from Delhi, from Allahabad, they used to come, we used to sit and then prepare the cases. Then we got ready, and we had the guidance of our eminent guru and leader, Mr. Parasaran. And he just turned 99 2 days ago. 98 completed, and I had gone to take his blessings on that day. See, he was, of course, a deeply religious person and a committed person. I wouldn't say I have faith and belief, but I was not so deeply religious in terms of being ritualistic Hindu. All the puja and all that, but though of course I have always been going to temples. That's how my parents trained me. But Mr. Parasaran is a different person. He used to, every day he reads at least one adhyaya of Ramayana. And Sundarakandam practically once a week at least he would read. He's a deeply religious person, a man with a deep conviction. So we had his guidance all the time, and he would get up suddenly in the middle of the night and start making notes with handwritten notes, and then call up in the morning and tell us to meet him and then discuss about it. So it was a matter, deeply emotive case, and matter of passion and commitment for all of us. Once the entire team, therefore, we were part of that. And I think when the case went on for 40 days, I remained committed to that case, so I didn't take up any other case during that time. Even though my daughter's family had come and we were on vacation in Udaipur, I could spend only maybe a few hours, because I had to be here for the case, and I had to interrupt the vacation and then come and attend to the case, because there was no question of taking any adjournment or being absent. So that's how we did it. I think it was we were able to answer most of the questions that the bench raised, and the bench was convinced, though they have not gone to the extent that we would have liked them to go, including in regard to deciding that place itself is a deity.
So before these 40 days, it took 11 years for the case to come to the Supreme Court. You also said that you felt you were an instrument of the deity. You did this case pro bono. Why, how, and what was the 80,000 pages that you went through? How many documents and how?
Oh, see, we had to go through all the evidence documents, and documents included the various encyclopedias, the books published by travelers who had been visiting Ayodhya, who had been visiting India, who had written about all these places, how people have been going for worship there. So all those documents which had been filed in the court as evidence, plus So many witnesses had come. So we had to go through all that and then decide which to highlight in the court. So these were that's how the 80,000 pages of volume, the paperwork. And we had to then sort out and compartmentalize and then prioritize what to present to the court. Because the court's time was limited and we had to do it in the manner, and I must compliment the court the way they were able to give more than adequate time to all the parties, but yet stick to your time schedule and pronounce the verdict in good time.
Yes. In fact, the foreigners you're talking about, I was looking through the research, sir, that you did. Joseph Tiefenthaler, William Finch, Montgomery Martin, and so on. They spoke about the history of Ram and the ruins of a temple in Ayodhya. It also shows, therefore, that the belief of the people was so strong that there was a temple there and Babur had destroyed it. Yet, there was a section of society who believed that the invaders had a mosque which was supposed to have been there and did not believe that it had the ruins of a temple.
See, nobody claims that the mosque was there before the 16th century. There was a structure before that is accepted. Yes. That it was a structure of religious significance is accepted. Right. Somebody tried to claim that it is a Buddhist structure or a Jain structure. Yes. But there's nothing of support for that proposition. The artifacts found in fact showed that there were temples, there were images which would show, which represent the Vishnu or the Garuda or the significance for the Hindu temple. Now, once the basic framework is there, and on top of that, in fact, the archaeologists did not do the excavation of what is the sanctum sanctorum, what was believed by the Hindus to be the sanctum sanctorum. It was only in the surrounding areas that the excavation took place. Okay. So if the place which was believed to be the Garbhagriha, the sanctum sanctorum, if excavation had been done, you would have found perhaps even the idols of the old time. But for sentimental reasons and so that nobody is affected, the Allahabad High Court judges decided that you will not do the excavation in that area. Right. It was only in the surrounding areas which were marked out. Now today if questions are raised, was it by demolishing a temple? How does it make a difference? That there was a temple is there and you have a structure on top of that. And then a question is raised, it was not the same stone pillars that were used, etc. But these are meaningless. I think it is completely inconsequential. Why would anybody go and choose to build a mosque at a place where people have been worshipping for 20 centuries? Yes. That's a question that has to be asked. And I don't see, except for a few Islamic leaders in India who may, for political purposes or otherwise, who want to raise this issue. By and large, even the Muslims in India, I think, are prepared to accept that, yes. Otherwise, when the questioning took place of the lawyer, when the written statement is filed after that at the first hearing, a statement is recorded. He said, yes, it is the faith and belief of people in India that Ram was born here. Ram was born in Ayodhya. Now what is the contention raised? The temple is there is another temple a few yards away, and that is a temple and not here. And another argument advanced was Ram Janambhumi, birthplace, will be in one room. Why do you want such a big place? This was hardly a big place. Therefore, I think these arguments are of no consequence. Ultimately, people have been doing the perambulation for this entire area, and they have been undertaking long treks, and during particular months, they used to undertake these pilgrimage tours, come there and do the perambulation, even when the mosque was there. Now that is the faith and belief of people, in spite of that. In spite of the fact that there was mosque, but because there was a place where they would do the worship even though the idol was not there.
Yes. I wanted to come to the Supreme Court, Mr. Vaidyanathan, when this case was being heard. It was even heard before former Chief Justice of India, Justice Mishra's bench, where I remember, and I'm naming the lawyers, there was Mr. Dushyant Dave, there was Mr. Sibal, there was Mr. Rajiv Dhawan. I still remember it was December. I was actually reporting on the Vijay Mallya case in London, and from there suddenly the story turned, because there was the Ayodhya case hearing happening here in India on December 4th, I think. And suddenly they said, and they threatened the Chief Justice at that time, that this case cannot be heard before the elections and we will try and do something, and warnings were given. Finally, it took Justice Gogoi to hear the case. Were there a lot of political pressure that was also being seen by all of you?
Yeah, it was so clear. There was a determined attempt to somehow or other scuttle the hearing and ensure that the hearing doesn't take place. Yes. But I think Chief Justice Gogoi and the bench saw through the game and then decided that it can't be kept indefinitely postponed. They even went to the extent of saying, no, the translation will take years. Yes. Right. Yes. Therefore, and the translation that had been made, the copies given to me are not good enough. There are mistakes, etc. Ultimately, nothing of these matters. Yes. The object was somehow or other to postpone the hearing, delay it. And how long can you delay? Of course, it needed a very determined and courageous Chief Justice to ensure that the hearing took place.
That's yes, and we had different judges of different faiths on that unanimous judgment.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to be asking sir about the Gyan Vapi case and other cases, but I'm going to shift the mood a little bit. We're in the beautiful Angan area. Sir, what is this called in the Tamil language? Take us through some of the beautiful things here.
In our place, it's called the Nadumitham. I come from, the border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and so as a Palgad Brahmin, in our place we call it the Nadumitham. That's a very central courtyard. Right. And so this is a place where people, the family will assemble and we will sit together. We can gossip, talk, and play. In those days, the indoor games used to be this Pallanguri. You use these and Dayam and all that. So those games used to be played, the men and women. And
very nice, very nice. What is this?
This one is. This is in my wife's farm. That's my wife's family's farmhouse. Right. When the water will have to be taken from one level to a higher level by the pedal, using the pedal, the water is shifted to the higher level. It's for that. And these are, of course, it's called the Urli. Right. And that is where the big, kheer, payasam will be prepared, because it won't get spoiled. And that's the thing. These are some of the old vessels you will find kept here, the pot.
And of course, the iconic Nandi.
That's Nandi. So this we had, and I thought this will be a good place to keep. Actually, this also serves, when you have a Havan, Homa, and sometimes you have Rudra Ekadasi where 11 Pandits will be performing. So this is a good place where, the fire and this one smoke will go up. It is open to the sky. So it won't affect though the smoke will come inside, but at the same time it will go up and there will be no fire hazard. So this is the kind of place where, traditionally it has been there in every house.
We're going to move to another beautiful room in Mr. Vaidyanathan's house and also get a glimpse of the other cases he's done, whether it's the iconic Sabrimala case, and I also want to ask him lots of questions on the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
In a shocking turn of events over the South China Sea, 2 US Navy planes crashed into the ocean during what should have been normal training on the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier. The near simultaneous losses involved an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter and an F-18F Super Hornet. Both aircraft operate with highly integrated avionics that depend on accurate satellite navigation, data link connectivity to the carrier, and redundant onboard sensors during launch, recovery, and maritime patrol. In the South China Sea, China has systematically layered electronic warfare systems across its man-made islands.
We are in Sir's beautiful drawing room. Sir, if you could tell us a little bit of the wonderful artwork that you've collected here. First, about this wonderful painting behind us.
Oh, that's what you can see is the Kashi, all the ghats. This is a painting of Manu Parekh and the night vision of the Kashi, Varnashi ghats. And that's in his image what he picturized it and then painted it.
Very nice.
And thing. And you have Vaikuntham, you have Ara, a lot of these paintings. I think
this wonderful painting.
Yeah, that's by a contemporary of Picasso, which I got when I was in Warsaw.
Lovely.
And then I found the person sitting there, and then he was having a gallery.
Very nice. All right, sir, I want to start at the early years, the cases that you did, but the emergency cases, the detention cases at a time when freedom of speech was scuttled in India for the first time. We're often seeing it happen now, but take us through those cases that you did during that emergency era.
See, 74 when I joined Mr. Venugopal, within 3 months, MISA, Maintenance of Internal Security Act, was amended.
Right.
And the economic offenders, the foreign exchange manipulators and the smugglers, they were detained first. I don't know whether it was trial or whatever it is, it was started like that. When Allahabad High Court judgment came and the election was upset of Mrs. Gandhi, 25th June 1975, the emergency was imposed. And we had a lot of political detentions. And Mr. Vajpayee, Madhu Dandavate, Advani, they had all been detained in Bangalore. Lots of people detained all over. And so Mr. Nambiar, who was alive at that time in 1974 and 75, he passed away in December 75. He was the leader in regard to preventive detention cases. He had argued the first Gopalan case. So his assistance was sought by people who had been detained. And therefore, I used to assist him. Chidambaram used to assist him. Chidambaram was also in Mr. Venugopal's chamber. But Chidambaram became the General Secretary of Tamil Nadu Congress Committee, and therefore he was disabled from effectively associating himself in cases against the government. Right. So then it just happened that Mr. Venugopal decided that I'll assist him in most of these detention cases. Of course, censorship cases, while Mr. Nariman and Soli Sarojji were appearing in a number of cases in Bombay, Mr. Venugopal used to appear. And you know, I must tell you, it was a matter of pride if somebody could keep the Indian Express. In Madras, Statesman was not available. Indian Express and Statesman were the flag bearers of freedom those days, and they were willing to go against the government. So anybody who was seen with Indian Express was known to be a person who was not pro-government. Yes. And we prided ourselves, some of us, by keeping Indian Express with us, and then, to show that, yes, we believe in freedom of speech. And we appeared, Mr. Venugopal was appearing in most of those cases in Madras, whatever happened in Murasali and some of the other newspapers were. So, and then the President's rule was 31st January 1976. President's rule was imposed in Tamil Nadu. Karunanidhi's government was dismissed, and so that was challenged. And Mr. Venugopal used to, we had filed a petition in Madras and in Delhi. In Delhi, the matter was first heard by a division bench, then referred to a full bench. They were not even prepared to issue notice. When Mr. Venugopal used to come, and I used to accompany him, he used to stay in Ashok Hotel. His room number will be identified, the IB will be tracking, and when we used to go to court, he was even being followed during the time, those days. That was what was happening. So that's a kind, but he was not bothered about all that. And so we did the cases. So in fact, my wife asked me once, "You're doing so many cases again." I said, we have to keep our one bag ready in case we are taken in also. But fortunately, the lawyers who were appearing were never taken in. And Mr. Santosh Hegde, who was in Bangalore, he used to come and brief us in regard to those cases in Bangalore. He was the one who was mainly briefing Mr. Venugopal. He used to, Mr. Ramajais, who became Chief Justice later, he was again, and he himself had been detained also. He initially used to brief, then he was detained. He was one of the lawyers who was detained, but he was, of course, involved with RSS and politically active with then Bharatiya Janata.
When you argued in the court, Mr. Vaidyanathan, what was the atmosphere of the court? Were they willing to hear you?
See, it's a very important question that you asked me. Particularly in regard to detention matters, habeas corpus those days, if you file a petition, it would be taken up the same day. Not even next day, it will be taken up the same day. And there was no question of giving time to the government for filing a counter, etc. All that they had to, they will be asked to produce the record. Because any detention had to be supported by the grounds of detention. So you produce a file. And if they are prima facie satisfied, it's okay then for the pleadings, etc. Otherwise, on that ground itself, they will be able to make up their mind. We had some good benches, some benches which are not that this one, but I must say, by and large, the high courts those days were fearless.
Okay.
during emergency, the high courts were fearless in striking down detention, in striking down censorship orders, but unfortunately Supreme Court did not stand by us, and you know the infamous ADM Jabalpur judgment, which two of the judges later on came to regret, Justice Chandrachud and Justice Bhagwati. But this is, the High Court judges who had squashed the detention orders, they were all subjected to transfers, a number of them. Of course, after the 1977 election, some of them became judges of Supreme Court. So that was a...
Did you even have an interaction with Mr. Vajpayee, Mr. Advani at that time? What were they going through?
No, I did not have personal... It was Mr. Santosh Hegde and Mr. Ramajoyce who were interacting. And in the court hall, they used to come, Mr. Venugopal has interacted.
So when they were in the court hall, they used to be brought in?
Yeah, they used to be brought in, some of them.
Right. Was there any sloganeering? Was there
No.
Okay.
Now, jam-packed courtroom, but no sloganeering. I think it's a very dignified court proceedings. I don't think there were any interruptions in regard to.
Right. Who represented the government at that time?
Number of matters, Mr. V.P. Raman as the Additional Solicitor General used to appear. He used to, those days, he was appearing in most of the high courts, particularly Bangalore and Madras.
I then go across to the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. It was the time when you were representing the Tamil Nadu government. You appeared before the Jain Commission, the Verma Commission. Did you think at any time that it was also the responsibility of the Tamil Nadu government when he was assassinated?
See, the security details which had been provided by that time, after what happened to Mrs. Gandhi, then security was strengthened for the Prime Ministers, and then the Prime Minister and former Prime Ministers were provided. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi liked to interact with people. So in spite of the police security arrangements, the close security arrangements, etc., when he would say that no, please don't impose so much security, and perhaps he felt that nothing would happen to him, in spite of being told. I think it was not the failure of the police forces, but of the intelligence in being able to sense it, whether it is the state intelligence or the central intelligence at that time. I think there has been a failure. They should have been a little more careful. So that's why even when the commission proceedings took place, general kind of advice which was sent out to all the governments, they alone could be produced, but no specific intelligence in regard to LTTE organizing this kind of an assassination attempt. That was never projected in the intelligence report. I think it's more a failure of intelligence.
Was there any political party at that time trying to raise fingers at Karunanidhi or any other politician?
There were, certainly. In fact, in the Jain Commission, pleadings had been filed by ADMK, Jayalalitha, that DMK, Mr. Karunanidhi, was very friendly with LTTE. So when she came to give evidence before the Jain Commission, she wanted to say that. I was her lawyer at that time, so I was interacting with her. I said, unless you have specific information based on speculation or vague hearsay or newspaper reports, it would not be advisable for you to make a statement. If you have specific inputs in regard to that, you can make a statement. So when I was having a conference with her said that no, politically we have made this statement, we have been making this statement politically, so I had to say that. I said, I would not, as a lawyer advising you, I would not say that you should, unless you have specific, because it is your knowledge ultimately that matters. And if you have picked up that information from some newspaper, some gossip, please don't. He was not agreeable. Then I was to leave that night, but I got a call, stay back. Next morning she wanted to meet. I went to her residence and we had a meeting again. Then she said, I agree with you. Unless, I don't want to do this. Yes, I know, I have a gut feeling that maybe there was something like that. They might have known. But since I don't have specific input, I will not say it. She agreed with me. But, that also speaks of one, a person who will think independently and take decisions and will not go by what others tell her. Two, she has the courage to accept. Earlier she was maybe a little misguided, but then she was willing to correct herself. And I have seen that on more than one occasion. Even in Kaveri dispute, when I was interacting with her, she had a particular view in regard to the 1924 agreement. But when I pointed out to her, don't rely only on that, but you have to indicate the water requirement.
It is a lot of humility and scholarship of Mr. Vaidyanathan that he speaks of such high-profile cases in this easygoing manner. But let's not forget that the icon that he is, these are names that he is talking about and cases that he is talking about that have really led to being defining moments in India's legal history. I am now going to go to his chambers and ask him about the inter-water disputes that he spoke about and the very famous Sabrimala case. We're now in the chambers of Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan. Sir, please take us through the beautiful artwork you have. You spend many hours in a day here.
Yeah, I do spend a good part of the day. This is Hussain, this Seema Kohli, this Jamini Roy, and there you have Santosh, the Radhakrishnan sculpture, number of these. I have been collecting arts from fairly from about 90s, but my son is a much more of an avid collector and he has a very good taste, and so these days I think the collection has gone up.
In the Ayodhya judgment, the Waqf by user was also touched upon, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Today there is a lot being spoken about the new Waqf Act. There is politician after politician that's moving the Supreme Court. How do you look at this?
See, we have had Waqf by user. One has to establish that by saying that there has been a dedication.
Yes.
So and even if there is a dedication, the Privy Council had occasion to go into this in regard to a mosque which is today in Pakistan, which was part of undivided India. And they said that it's not as if it is immutable. There can be changes in spite of that, because there's nothing sacred about that. Today you can have Friday prayers, Jummah, even on the road. People do that. You will find that sometimes traffic is diverted because the Jummah worship is going on Friday. So there is nothing sacred about that. Can you say that because Friday worship has taken place on the road, that is now dedicated, that is a waqf?
Yes.
You set apart places in the airports, in railway stations for worship. Yes. You go to a place like Singapore or Kuala Lumpur airport. Yes. There are dedicated places for worship. Can anybody say that by user it has become waqf land? I mean, this is that will lead to absurdities. That's not the intention. Therefore, the fact that somebody has been conducting prayers in a particular place does not mean that by user it is a waqf.
Right.
So the dedication will have to be there. That is what has to be proved. So once the dedication, and then in India, there has been a requirement by law of registration of the Waqf. If in fact it has been dedicated, and even by user for long user it is Waqf property, nothing prevented you from registering it. Yes. So the law that now has been challenged required that show, have you registered? And if you are not able to show that, to claim that this is Waqf land and therefore that nothing should be done with it and it is Waqf property, I think that is unacceptable.
We're in Sir's chamber. We're now going to go to some beautiful parts of Sir's house, where we're going to be seeing where Mr. Vaidyanathan has his morning tea, where he does his prayer, and also where he gets a moment of peace. We're now in this exclusive, beautiful sneak peek at C.S. Vaidyanathan's terrace garden, where there's prayers going on, there's beautiful peace, and there's lush greenery around us. Mr. Vaidyanathan, tell us how much time you spend here.
Oh, every morning I spend about a couple of hours. I read the newspapers either in the balcony here or inside in that room. With this background, because the sun comes from here east, right, and you have the zoo at the back, all the trees around, so you can hear the peacocks, you can hear the birds chirping.
Lovely.
And some of the animals, sometimes you can hear them. Okay. And otherwise sometimes you can even see the monkeys will come here.
Okay, but they're not harmful, they're not naughty.
No.
Okay, and what else do you do? What time do you get up? What's your daily routine like?
Oh, I get up around 6:15. I read about 11 newspapers.
Gosh! Okay.
So I spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours reading newspapers, listen to some music, and then it's a nice place. I have my coffee in the morning. My wife, of course, has tea. So we sit around here in this area. And so, I think my wife has green fingers, and so she has been able to develop all this garden, and she makes sure that it looks nice, and she maintains it very well.
So what is your routine like, sir? You have your tea, you have your papers. After that, what's your routine like?
Well, I get ready, and then by 9:15 I'm in the office, and then go to court by 10 o'clock normally. So, and come back. I don't stay in court. I don't spend too much time unless I have work. Once I finish, I come back to the office, and I normally finish off my work by 6:30, and then again I have that comfortable time by myself or with some friends, and listening to some music. I enjoy listening to Carnatic music and some good Hindustani music also. I happen to be the president of Gandhar Mahavidyalaya and Shangan Sabha. So, and I'm also the vice chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. So,
lovely. So it's often said law is a jealous mistress. In your case, you're able to take out time for other.
Yeah, I have. By and large, I think time management I have been able to do well, so that I keep time off in the evening. I'm able to see. We have to contribute to the society also. So I'm a trustee in the SOS Children's Villages. So I go there, attend to that, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, and these music organizations. So go to that. We get to see a lot of places also, go on some pilgrimage tours with my wife. Is very fond of going to temples in Delhi and outside we go.
And do you travel in those lovely holidays that the Supreme Court gives?
Of course. I make it a point never to work during holidays.
Lovely, that's good.
In summer holidays, I think that has been a tradition in Mr. Vanugopal's office. he always used to travel, so I followed him. And every summer I take time off, part of it for my Ayurvedic treatment, 3 weeks for that. And the rest of the time we travel, and my daughter's family lives in Canada.
Okay.
So make it a point. Of course, my son, having now become a judge, his vacation is limited.
Yes.
But we do some travels together.
And what are the places that you have traveled to? What are the places on your bucket list?
We have traveled the world over, but I think I haven't been to New Zealand. That's one place I would still love to go to. And I would like to see a lot more of South America. I have been to South America a couple of times, but I want to go to the Amazon.
Right.
I want to spend some time. I have been on a safari twice, but I think I want to do it again in Africa, maybe a couple of times more.
Very nice.
So, but I've been on, see, Mr. Venugopal was the UAE president. For a number of years, we used to attend the UAE Congress. I was also on the, as an advisor to the president in a number of years. So we used to travel every year. Mr. Santosh Shagde, till he became a judge of the Supreme Court, Mr. Ganguly.
Yes.
So we all used to travel together. Then Mr. R.K. Jain, who has been president of Bar Association for a number of years,
Yes.
he and I used to regularly go out together. China, we've been to Europe, we have been to the Las Vegas, Grand Canyon. We spent a couple of days, both of us,
Okay.
So we travel. And nowadays, if I don't go with the family, I sometimes go with Mr. Parag Tripathi, and he's very fond of wine tours.
Yes.
So I've been to Burgundy, Bordeaux, all these places, enjoying good wine with him.
He's a connoisseur, I feel, of
Yeah,
wine.
he's a top class.
Yes.
He has done WSET, so he knows about
Courses,
wine.
yes, he's done courses in wine.
Yeah.
That is lovely. So, are you also now able to come to know the different types of wines and the tastes?
I know what is agreeable to my palate, what's good to the nose.
Yes.
But I can't, like Parag, I will not be able to divine the particular year or the place from which it has come. That he's able to do, I am not able to.
Yes, all right. What about books? What are the kind of books you're fond of?
Biographies, books on economics, public finance, international finance, and I do a lot of reading of Tamil books.
Okay.
Some old authors, T. Janagiraman, Pudumai Pittan, all these. So having been a student of Tamil and Tamil literature, that engages me.
Very nice.
So I make it a point to read a couple of Tirukural every day.
Okay.
I do
Very
that.
nice, very nice. But I want our viewers to also get in a view of the puja room where Mr. Vaidyanathan and his wife do a little bit of prayer.
Yeah, my wife more than me.
Yes. We are standing in Sir's worship area in his house. It has different reverberations here. There's a certain peace and silence here. One can almost feel it, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Tell us the significance of this room.
Oh, this is in the northeast corner of the house, and I think in the Vastu Shastra, northeast corner is supposed to be the ideal place for worship and meditation. Okay. So here, I have found, and my wife, prays regularly both in the morning and evening, spends a lot of time here, and I think the vibes are different. The reverberations when you sit in this room are definitely different.
Yes.
The people who my guests, my relatives who come here, and when they come to this room, they find always that it's a kind of different and total peace.
Absolutely. We can almost sense it. We want to talk slower. It's almost like it's a peaceful calm place where one can actually just connect with God. And it's a room that's filled 360 degrees with pictures of all the deities, whether it's these traditional paintings, whether it's Krishna, whether it's Ganesh. There are gods from everywhere. So take us through the significance of these paintings, these deities, these idols that you have here.
This is the Rama Pattabhishekam, as you can see, and this is a vintage, I think more than 200 years old, and you can see that is Gajalakshmi, yes. And this is Krishna, the boy, young boy, yes. Krishna, and this is Guru Ayyappan, yes. And you have Sharda Devi of Sringeri, and Saraswati, and all these deities, and here you have this is Payani Subramanya Murga, right. That one. And it's an old painting. This painting also is about 100, but this is not an original painting. That's a print. But this is again is an antique. This is of Andal.
And you pray to?
Yeah, my Ishtadevam is that. My Ishtadevam is that. And this is Andal. Again, one of the devotees who has sung in praise of Lord Krishna, right. And is treated as a saintly figure in Tamil. And then, of course, you have some of the other Mysore paintings, Krishna. You have this, this Ramesh Gurjala's Hanuman. Yes. You have the story of Ramayana.
My gosh, that's fascinating, that entire painting.
But you can see, when you see the larger figure, it is the Anjaneya, Hanuman. But you have the story within the painting. And this is Ayyappa. Yes. This is Kamadhenu.
Sabrimala, we were talking about Lord Ayyappa, and that's his painting.
And here is the Kamadhenu.
And you also have different pictures here of the different gods. You have Guru Nanak.
Yes. This is Ganesh, yes, and you have Jagannath, Puri Jagannath, this is Chinmayananda, Sai Baba. You have Paramacharya here, and that is the Vimanam of Chidambaram temple, the golden roof of Chidambaram temple, Ramana Maharshi. So we have been to all these places, and sometimes when we go there, we are presented with these, or we collect these.
You spend time here in the morning?
I do. Okay. I certainly do. Every day when I'm in Delhi, I certainly come here and do my worship.
So, faith is a very important part of your day.
It is. It is. I have been a believer, and my wife is a much staunch believer, and we have been like that. And my son, even today, yes. He sports athletic.
Okay.
Which I don't.
Right.
After I went to college, perhaps, no, more I think when I came to DCM I stopped that.
Right.
But in college, law college also I used to have that.
But I think coming here, one understands why faith is so important, and also why you said that you were an instrument that was chosen by the day.
I believe I was lucky. I was lucky that the Lord chose me to be one of the implements to argue for Him. Yes. I'm so happy. I feel so blessed.
Right. Well, we're also going to ask a couple of more questions once we're out of here. This is too sacred a place to be asking different questions here, but this room has a different reverberation in Mr. Vaidyanathan's house. Mr. Vaidyanathan, as we're coming to an end of the last few questions, I want to take it to across the judiciary. Several times the judiciary is facing a lot of ire on social media. Of recent, it's Chief Justice of India, Justice Gawai, a shoe had been hurled at him. Now that person's membership of the bar has been suspended. How do you look at the incident?
See, I think, when today we know that there is live TV, live coverage of whatever is happening in court, one has to be extra cautious in speaking. Of course, the judges have to speak, because during the course of arguments, unless we know what is running in their mind, how they must react, they can't be silent. But it should not be in a flippant manner. It should be very, very carefully weighed words. Sometimes, what we might have in a drawing room, in a casual conversation, if that is stated in a courtroom, sometimes, it's not taken lightly by people. And there is a tendency to get hurt, and all kinds of interpretations are given. Media, social media now, but they expand its coverage to so much. So I think it draws the attention of all the persons holding high offices to be a little more careful now in future. And judges should be very, very careful, and mainly I have always believed judges should speak through judgments. Once they deliver judgments, they should not be justifying it outside. And in court during hearing, yes, you had to speak, but you had to be careful about what you're speaking. I think that is a lesson that we need to follow.
There is one judge who's spoken because of the unaccounted cash that was found at his house. How do we look at the Justice Yashwant Verma case?
See, yes, cash has been found. Whether it is his, that's a matter of inquiry.
But the inquiry committee that sat said that only he and his family members and his staff could have
had control of the room,
yes.
Is what has been found.
Yes.
It is his defense, it appears, that he hardly ever visited that place, and somebody might have had access and kept it in his house. It's a secure place, judge's place. And I can tell you, I'm sitting in this house. Yes, I have video monitoring. After this incident, I have been so careful. I don't even keep my front door open. It always remains locked. In the judge's house, in all these, so many servant quarters are there. How does one monitor? Therefore, I don't want to jump to conclusion. He might have a perfectly reasonable defense. It is yet to be seen. So, but yes, I think his reputation generally amongst the lawyers has been one of impeccable character and integrity. So, it was a shock to all of us when we heard this. And let's see what the Judges Inquiry Act, the inquiry under the Judges Inquiry Act comes out with. Whatever the conclusion is, his life as a judge is gone, his life even as a lawyer is gone. I think the greatest danger is in regard to the institution having extra measures, safety measures, because today anything is possible. Supposing in a judge's house something is planted, now what happens? He has no means of control. So I will be, from the point of view of judicial institution, one has to be very careful in coming to conclusion. This is my view.
Fair enough. Mr. Vaidyanathan, you are the recipient of the Padma Shri 2025. That journey has been a very long time coming. From speaking to you right at the start about not having electricity in your village, to going to government colleges, to then having secured this brilliant position in the Supreme Court. What, according to you, is the real definition today of success?
See, two things. One, with effort and hard work, a person who went to school without even slippers and having lived in places without running water and electricity can come up, is the opportunity in free India, in a Indian Republic. I think that's a message. Second, the fact that amongst my former chamber juniors, two of them became judges of Supreme Court, Ravindra Bhatt and Vaidyanathan, and a number of juniors have become senior advocates. I think the contribution as a lawyer, if I have to look back and see what is it that I have done, I think one of the important things that I will credit myself, I'll be happy about, is the fact that I've been able to guide and mentor people who have today become persons who have been noticed for their worth and have been appointed as judges of Supreme Court, and who have become designated senior advocates who have become successful in the profession. I think that's a very happy moment for me. That's something, apart from the cases that I have handled, I think this is one important contribution, and I would say that this is a lesson that I have learned from Mr. Venugopal. His office has produced perhaps the maximum number of senior advocates and judges in Supreme Court. So that's the creditable achievement.
I think it's creditable that we've spent a day with you, and I realize that you humbly do things yourself also. Whether it's helping my camera persons, whether it's switching on lights yourself, whether it's charmingly, bemusedly watching us, but helping us go from room to room and not creating a fuss about it. There is a lot more behind the humble charm, sir, that you have. I thank you
That's so
for
nice of you
spending
to say. That's very
time
kind
with
of
us.
you. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.